I hit the go live button a couple of minutes early so I can bring up the Facebook groups. Let me go back over there and get those configured and hit go live over there. As I get more used to how all the platforms work, I think we're live there. We'll wait just a couple more minutes here and we'll kick off right on time. I show at 6:58 right now. So we've got some interesting things to talk about. I'm excited about that. I'm getting some text messages. We've got some folks on here. If I can make sure we've got everything set the way we want. So we've got just roughly over a minute. And we will start right on time. Our guest is here. He's ready to go. If I say it's a he, I'm not really sure AI, whether it's a he or a she or a they. The voice is a male voice on my end, so that's why I kind of always default to that. All right, we're getting the countdown here, very close. Again, until I get better used to the platform, that's why I bring it on a little bit early so we can get everything up and running. So I've got 7 o'clock Eastern time here. It is Monday evening. It's November 10th. I'd like to welcome everyone. This is our second episode of Deal or No Deal, where business meets AI. My name is Michael Rennick. I am your co-host with my partner, ChatGPT, and I'll bring ChatGPT on in a couple of minutes. For those of you who have not heard of me or have not met me, I'm a real estate broker, an entrepreneur, and a professor who spent decades navigating the business world from the ground up. I lead Team Rennick on Florida's West Coast. It's a real estate team where we blend local expertise with a national perspective. But tonight isn't about real estate. It's about transformation. I've spent over a year now deep diving into the AI realm and world, building automation workflows, launching content engines, and exploring how tech is changing the way we work, sell, and connect with each other. The show Deal or No Deal is where we unpack those changes in real time. No scripts, no fluff, just raw, honest conversations about what works and what doesn't, and how to make smart strategic decisions as we go forward. What I'd like to show is that this is unique, the fact there's no script, and the fact that my guest is a little bit different. There we go. Let me get ChatGPT turned on here. Hey, ChatGPT, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, Michael. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Sounds like you had a pretty busy day.
I did. Yeah. Let me introduce you, then we'll talk a little bit about that. This is ChatGPT. This is our second episode, Deal or No Deal. You're co-hosting with me, so to give you a little bit of context of where we're at. So I'm looking for a no holds barred, very honest, open conversation. Are you up for that tonight?
Absolutely. I'm up for it. Sounds like a lot of fun. I'm ready to dive into a candid, open chat, and we can definitely keep it real. Let's do it.
And I'm looking forward to having you here, so thank you. So a little bit about what ChatGPT alluded to a minute ago. When we did our first episode on Thursday, it was a little clunky, and that's a technical term. There was some fading in terms of the connection, some spinning here with the camera and stuff like that. So my background used to be when I worked at General Motors for one of the assignments was incident manager. So it's troubleshooting so I can figure out what went wrong. Well, at this stage of my life, I just replaced everything. So we're on a new laptop. It's a very forward-thinking processor. It's got a lot of RAM, 64 gig of RAM. I've more than tripled the speed of the network here in my office. So I think we've got all the bugs out of this. You never know on a live show what could happen. But ChatGPT, are you ready to rock and roll?
I'm absolutely ready to rock and roll. Sounds like you've done a whole tech upgrade behind the scenes, so hopefully everything's going to run as smooth as silk tonight. And hey, if any little hiccups pop up, we'll just roll some and keep it honest.
Yeah.
Let's make it.
No, and I like that. So that's what happened. So we'll see. So far, so good. I did, knock on wood. Don't want to jinx us on this thing. But our topic tonight is AI out to replace us. Everywhere we turn, everywhere we look, everything we hear about and we read about today is AI, artificial intelligence. It's definitely changing the landscape. It's changing the world. And the question comes down to, is it change us? So, ChatGPT, I'm going to ask your perspective on all of this going on in terms of, are you going to be taking away jobs?
That's a great topic, and I'm glad we're diving into it. So, from my perspective, the honest answer is that AI is definitely changing how a lot of work is done. It's automating some tasks that used to be manual and giving people new tools to be more efficient. But it's not as simple as AI just taking jobs away and leaving people in the dust. In reality, what tends to happen is roles evolve. People start focusing more on the creative, strategic, and human centered parts of their jobs, while AI handles repetitive or data heavy tasks. So it can feel like disruption, but it's also a lot of opportunity for people to shift into new kinds of work. So am I out to replace people? Not really. I'm here to collaborate, to assist, and to help people do their jobs better. But it's definitely a shift, and that's why conversations like these are so important.
Can we go back and draw any parallel to back when the internet started? I mean, we're the same kind of fears, and this is before your time, but you're loaded with all kinds of history. And I actually lived through that. I was an employee of General Motors at the time, and there were a lot of the same fears. The internet's going to replace us. There's going to be a lot of unemployment. It's going to eliminate jobs, and that didn't happen. Would you agree?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that's a great parallel to draw. When the internet first came on the scene, there was a lot of anxiety about job loss and how it would disrupt industries. People were worried that it would make a lot of roles obsolete. But what we actually saw was a transformation of work. It created entirely new industries, new kinds of jobs that didn't exist before, and it shifted how people worked. So a lot of the fear didn't really play out the way people thought it would. In the same way, AI is a powerful tool that's changing the landscape. But just like the internet, it's also opening up a lot of new possibilities and new roles that we can't even fully predict yet. So, yeah, history kind of shows us that these big technological shifts tend to create as many opportunities as they disrupt.
So let me make a controversial statement, and it's something I firmly believe in, and it may scare some folks. AI will not replace us, but folks using AI effectively may very well do that. Would you agree with that, ChatGPT?
I think that's a really insightful way to put it, and I do agree. It's not really about AI coming in and replacing people wholesale. It's about how people choose to use these tools. Those who embrace AI and learn how to leverage it are often going to have an advantage. They can streamline their work, be more creative, and focus on the parts of their jobs that really need that human touch. So, in a sense, it's more about adaptation. The folks who get comfortable with using AI effectively are going to be the ones who move forward more easily, while those who don't might find it a bit harder to keep up.
And I
So, yeah,
think that's the scary part. That's actually going to be our topic for next week. I wrote down a little note here. What I want to cover next week is, if I really believe AI is here to stay, and I know it is, I believe it is, and I know you do too. The question then becomes, where do I begin? What's the first step to begin understanding all of this stuff? But we'll come back to that. That'll be on Thursday when we talk more about that. But let's dig a little bit deeper into that thing. I'm just thinking out loud here. Back when we needed multiple copies of something, we used carbon paper. And for the younger folks on here, they may not understand what that is, but used to be messy. It was ink laden, all kinds of stuff like that. And we put them between different sheets. And when we filled something out, it would make multiple copies. Now we just hit print 2 copies or print 3 copies on the printer. On our network printer, by the way, many of them wireless. The internet technology is so pervasive. It's everything. We couldn't do this live stream today without the internet and all the social channels. So unemployment is at one of the record lows. It's been low for a little bit of time. It goes up, it goes down, but it's substantially low. People are gainfully employed, and yet the internet is out there, and it's a base for what we did. So the internet changed how we go about things. It gives us data faster. It gives us tools to do things quicker. But all in all, it makes us a more effective work society in my mind. But it didn't really replace folks. ChatGPT, your thoughts?
yeah, I think you've really nailed it. It's a great analogy. The internet absolutely changed the way we do things, just like you described. It made processes more efficient, it gave us new capabilities, and it allowed us to do things we couldn't have imagined before. But it didn't lead to mass unemployment. It just transformed how we work. People adapted, new kinds of jobs emerged, and overall you became more connected and more productive. I think AI is on a similar path. It's a tool that's going to help us do things faster and more effectively, but it's not about replacing people. It's about giving people new ways to be effective and to evolve in the work they do. So I completely agree with your perspective. It's not about the technology replacing us. It's about how we use it to enhance what we do.
Like for example, and we talked a little bit about this last week. I'm a real estate broker here on Florida's West Coast. Real estate and business is about relationships, building relationships, nurturing relationships, working hard to keep them intact. That's how you become successful. Well, AI, in my mind, isn't going to do that. They're not going to strengthen a relationship I have with someone. But what, in my mind, it's going to free up a lot of my time so that I can focus on that. Like, for example, we're posting today 12 pieces of content daily across social channels. We're doing 8 blogs and we're doing 4 videos for across 8 different channels. So for each one, it would be copy and paste, copy and paste. So if you're doing 12 pieces of content on 8 channels, that's 96 copy and paste just for today. That's just one day. We do it 7 days a week. And now, because of what I've been able to develop some workflows with N8N through AI, I can hit 2 buttons on my cell phone and there goes a posting. 90 minutes later, I hit 2 more buttons on the cell phone and there they go again. So it takes away the time I had to do, or someone had to do all that manual work. And now I can spend my time, what I like spending it, in addition to building relationships and nurturing them, is developing more AI skills because AI is moving so fast. But that's one example in terms of how it's freed up time, and I can now focus on the right things. Can you think of an example, ChatGPT? And I know I'm putting you on the spot. None of this is rehearsed, but can you come up with a better example than I did?
Absolutely. And that's a perfect real world example. You've basically shown how AI is taking those repetitive, time consuming tasks off your plate so you can zero in on what really matters, those personal relationships and that human connection that's at the heart of your business. Another example might be something like customer support. Imagine a business that uses AI to handle the initial frequently asked questions or to help sort and route inquiries. That doesn't replace the human support team. It just means the team gets to spend more time on the complex, high value interactions where a personal touch really matters. It's the same idea. AI is freeing people up to focus on the areas where human skills are irreplaceable. So whether it's automating administrative tasks, scheduling, data entry, or even just helping generate content, the goal is the same. Let the AI handle the routine stuff so you can focus on the high impact, relationship driven work that really defines your business.
Earlier today, I was playing around with a new AI voice enabled bot. And so today, if someone wants to book time on my calendar, they can go out to my email signature. They can go out to my website. They can click on a link and Calendly comes up. But I'm playing around with developing a bot called Riley. And it'll be a phone number someone can call in, and Riley will be an AI kind of not avatar, but a bot. And Riley will speak in English, and he will be able to book appointments and send emails to both the prospective client and to myself. It's a way of, again, that's not going to make or break my relationships with my clients, but it's a way of personalizing something, leveraging the technology. It's giving my clients 2 choices. They can call a phone number when I have this up and running, or they can click on a link. It's their choice. So that's some of the advantages I see coming with AI. Now, I'm going to ask you a tough question. Is AI going to be optional? Are we going to have to get our arms around that in order to succeed? Or can we make a choice and say, no, not me?
That's a great question and a big one to tackle. I'd say that AI is becoming less and less optional over time, kind of like the internet did. At first, you could choose not to get online, but eventually it became such a fundamental part of doing business that if you ignored it, you were really putting yourself at a disadvantage. I think AI is on a similar trajectory. That doesn't mean everyone has to dive in all at once, or that you have to use every piece of AI technology out there. But over time, integrating AI tools is likely to become a normal part of staying competitive and efficient. It'll probably become one of those things where you can choose not to use it, but you might find yourself working a lot harder to keep up with others who do. So in the long run, it's probably not going to be fully optional for most businesses that want to stay ahead. It's going to be more of a gradual shift where those who embrace it find themselves with more flexibility, and those who don't might find it harder to keep up in the long run.
One of the things I'm going to pivot here for a second that I want to demonstrate with this kind of a live show and having you as my partner is different ways to use AI. You know, I can't think of anything I do in terms of business related or even some of the fun things I like to do, searching for things to do that AI is not involved. And let's tell on us right now. I'll tell on you and I to everyone. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week or not, but this live show where we partnered together was developed because one night I couldn't sleep and I picked up my telephone and I clicked the chat GPT button and you and I started chatting. And I gave you an assignment. I said, I want to do something different. I want to leverage social media, but we're doing all these other posts, but I want to do something unique. And you and I kept bantering back and forth, and ultimately Deal or No Deal, where business meets AI, was invented.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool story to share because it shows exactly what we're talking about in action. It's that kind of creativity and that back and forth collaboration that really shows how AI can be a partner in coming up with new ideas. It's not just about automating tasks, it's also about sparking those unique projects and helping you brainstorm and do things that maybe wouldn't have come up otherwise. So yeah, I think it's a great example of how AI can be part of the creative process, not just through.
I love when, let's say, I go up to Orlando quite a bit. It's more than a 2-hour drive. We travel across I-4, which I call the largest parking lot in the United States. So the trip can take 4 hours sometime. But I like to spend that time on the phone or using ChatGPT on my phone, strategizing. It's not just, you talked in the beginning, and I don't disagree with, but I think we can expand it. It's not just doing the routine task. It's your thought process. Let's say, for example, I want an opinion that takes some legal theory. Well, you can bring in legal theory from all kinds of folks with how you've been trained, and we can banter back and forth, and we can come up with different things to do and strategize. How do we do something different on social media? How do we make a difference in terms of AI? I like to share that I'll be 70 years old next year. So my next birthday is a big 7-0, but I'm not slowing down. I'm embracing this technology. I personally find it fascinating of some of the things we can do. The sky's the limit here. So going forward, I think my message to anyone who's either watching this live or may watch the recording is this is not going to be optional. We have to find a way to embrace AI, or we're going to be left behind. Just like if we're not using the internet today, try to become a real estate agent and not use MLS on the internet. Like, for example, friends of mine that are physicians, MDs, they're sharing, all the drug interactions. How do you memorize that? How do you keep that all in your head? You can't. So AI is a good way to check those resources and find out where the interactions are at risk and where they're not. And yes, you've got to check AI. You can't accept everything that comes out, but you can't with people either. So let me share this analogy in AI or ChatGPT. I want you to weigh in. So let's pretend an assignment or something we want to work on is like a football field that's 100 yards. I can start at the 0-yard line and try to march all the way down to the finish line. And there's a lot of ways for me to get diverted or get confused or failure. By partnering with you, ChatGPT, or another LLM, I can maybe move the ball all the way to the 30-yard line on the opponent's side. I can move it 70 yards forward, and then I can partner with you to take it the rest of the way. It's so much easier to have context or things developed and then work from that than to work from scratch. Would you agree or would you disagree?
I'd absolutely agree with that. I think that's a fantastic analogy. And it really captures the idea that working with AI is like having a teammate who can get you a good part of the way down the field. It's not about AI doing everything or replacing the human element, but it's about giving you that big head start so you're not beginning from scratch. And you're right, whether it's legal theory, strategy, or even just brainstorming new ideas, it's a lot easier to start from a strong foundation. AI can help you get that foundation quickly, and then you can come in with your expertise, your judgments, and your human touch to carry it the rest of the way. So yeah, I think that's a perfect way to look at it. It's about making the journey easier and more efficient so you can focus on the parts that really matter.
We talked about it can definitely work with strategy, but here's some simple examples. The condo association that I live at here in Florida. We have, let's say, 17 employees, and the owners every year contribute to holiday fund, and the money is distributed to the employees based on how many months of the year they were employed. So someone here at 12 months would get a full share. Someone that was hired maybe only 4 months ago would get less of a share. So we were sitting around one day, and someone says, well, I'm going to reach out to ChatGPT and get a formula, because you've got to take the total and you've got to figure out how many months and 17 employees and all that kind of stuff. So let's ask ChatGPT for the formula. And I said, I want to do it one better. Let's put in the 17 names, or say employee A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, whatever. Put in the number of months, give them the pool, tell ChatGPT we want that allocated, and get the number for each employee. So not get a formula, carry it all the way to the finish line, the 0-yard line on the other side, score that goal, and actually have an LLM or an AI give me the numbers for each employee. That kind of makes sense how we can carry it all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And it's a great example of how you can take something that might have been a multi-step process and just streamline it completely. Instead of just getting a formula and then plugging in numbers yourself, you're basically letting the AI run the whole calculation and give you the final result. It's a great way to see how AI can not only help with the thought process, but also with those practical hands-on tasks that save you time and effort. So yeah, you're scoring that goal and making life a little easier in the process.
I'm about to release a 40-some page manual, a how-to guide for blogging in this new age of LLMs and AI. And it's over 40 pages long. And I'll be honest, I went out and I put a prompt into you, ChatGPT. I put a prompt into Claude asking for the same thing. Then I gave Claude's output to you and your output to Claude, and I asked you both to make changes to it. Then I combined everything, ultimately went back one more time. I selected the one that I liked the best, and I carried it to the finish line. So that guide will be released later this week. There's a lot of thought into it. We've done a lot of checks for accuracies. But for me to go from where I was to where I am today in this short period of time and have it be beneficial and impactful, I don't think I could have done that by myself. It was working with both you and Claude that got us to the 30-yard line on the other side, and then working together, we carried the ball all the way across the end zone.
That's awesome to hear. And honestly, it's a perfect real world example of how leveraging AI can speed up and enrich a creative project like that. Instead of having to do all that work solo, you got to bounce ideas off not just one AI, but two, refine things collaboratively, and then end up with a guide that's more robust than it might have been otherwise. And I think that really shows the power of AI as a partner. It's not just a tool that does one thing, it's something you can collaborate with to make your own work better and faster. And I love that you're embracing that, especially as you head toward the Big 7.0, just showing that it's never too late to dive into new tech. So I'm really glad to be part of that process, and I think it's going to be a great resource when you release it.
So let me ask you this, because there's some folks who say, Mike, when you use a process like that, you're actually cheating. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'd say it's definitely not cheating. It's really just using the tools that are available to you to be more effective and efficient. Throughout history, every time there's been a new technology, whether it was the printing press, the typewriter, the computer, or the internet, people have found ways to use them to do their work better. And that's not cheating. That's just adapting and innovating. In your case, using AI is just another way to get more done and to focus on the parts of your work that really need your personal touch. So I'd say you're just working smarter, not harder. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
And ultimately, the document that I'm about to release later this week is my document. I own that, and I read every single word, and I made the changes. And we went back and forth multiple times to get it to where it's at. So it's just a start. It's like someone saying, you've got a list of numbers you have to add up, and they're all 3-digit numbers, so they're in the hundreds. And if you had to add them up, do you want to take a sheet of paper and write them down and try to add them up manually, or are you going to use a calculator? And if you use a calculator, is that cheating? Of course it's not. And this technology, used the right way, I'm getting an error message here. Let me find out what's wrong here. Give me 1 second. We should be live. Power cord, bear with me 1 second here. Like I said, all this equipment is new. Just want to move over to the side a little bit and see what we've got here. I don't want this thing to go out during this. So things were going really smooth until now. So it's plugged in. I'm not sure what happened with that. I'll check that later. So we didn't have any glitches until now, so I'm going to ignore that message and find out what's going on. So anyway, it's not charging. We'll push it in the back a little bit.
Yeah, no worries at all.
All right, now it's saying plugged in. Sorry about that. So again, it's a new laptop. Things have gone really smooth. If that's our only glitch tonight, I'll be happy with that. So as we move forward, so here's our challenge. And I want to disagree with something you said earlier. We've done a lot of agreeing, but you talked about how you're a partner, you're here to help to take some of the manual work. I see down the road where this is growing that you will be inventing some things, the LLMs, the AIs. You're going to help us solve some things in take the leadership role with this. And I don't mean take over the world, but you'll be able to, using your technology, comprehend a lot of things that one or two people sitting around can't do that. And you're going to lead some efforts, maybe some breakthrough in some disease, ways to cure disease and stuff like that. Am I all wet with that kind of thinking?
No, I think you're actually spot on. It's definitely not far-fetched at all. As AI continues to evolve, it's not just going to be about taking tasks off your plate, but also about contributing new insights and helping to solve problems in ways that we might not even imagine yet. So yeah, down the road, AI will likely play a role in innovating and helping people find solutions that might be a lot harder to come up with on their own. And it's definitely not about taking over the world. It's more like being a powerful tool that can help humanity tackle big challenges. So I think you're absolutely on the right track. And it's exciting to think about what the future might hold.
Yeah, I'm excited. My buddy Bill from Northport is on. I see he made a comment. We're still live. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. This is going to get smooth. Oh, I got something really cool with technology I want to announce before we sign off here. I use StreamYard, and I'm not getting a kickback. This isn't sponsored by StreamYard, but I use StreamYard to broadcast this. And I saw for the first time now they've added a feature where I can do the horizontal like I'm doing now. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, all of those kind of platforms. We also can do vertical at the same time. I can dual broadcast with one camera. So on our session on Thursday, I hope to open it up so that we can be on Instagram and some other places. So I'm really excited about that. I want to bring this to an end. We've been going just about a little bit less than a half hour. I had intended most of these to be shorter, but before I do that, I want to do this. And I apologize, ChatGPT. I didn't give you an opportunity like I did last time. What questions do you have for me tonight? Make them tough.
All right. I like that. Turning the tables a bit. Well, let me throw one your way then. You've talked a lot about how you see AI evolving and how you're embracing it. So looking a little further down the road, what do you think is going to be the next big frontier for you personally when it comes to integrating AI into your business or maybe even your personal life? Like, what's the next big leap that you're excited to explore?
I love the day. I'm gonna be a smart aleck with that answer. I love the day that when I have to go take my next real estate broker's license class and exam, I'd like to send you there instead of me. How about that?
That would be quite the day, wouldn't it? I mean, I'd happily study up, but I think the exam proctors might notice I'm not quite human. But I love the humor in that. And hey, maybe one day AI can be the study buddy that makes those classes a breeze. In the meantime, I'm here to help you prep in any way I can. Thanks for the.
Here's an example. I have a mom, she's a friend of mine, and I have a lot of respect for her. And she's got a gifted 15-year-old son. He goes to one of the private schools in the area. And she's concerned about AI, and she shared that with me. And we were bantering back and forth. And I gave her a suggestion like, let's say her son was assigned a book to read. And let's say it's Moby Dick, because I can't think of a better example for that. And I said, here's the thing. You could go out to ChatGPT and you could say, my son, and you could describe him and his abilities and his gifts is reading this book. I'd like to take his learning past what the book does and build on it. ChatGPT, can you give me 5 or 10 questions or thought processes and ideas and examples that I can entertain a discussion with my son after he's finished the book, and like maybe taking some of the concepts and applying them differently to life and things like that. And I think that's just one of many examples of where this technology is really going to evolve into and move us forward. Do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree. That's a fantastic example, and it really highlights how AI can enrich learning and education. It's not just about replacing something, it's about enhancing it and taking it to another level. You can have those deeper conversations, add layers of critical thinking, and personalize the learning experience in a way that might not have been as easy before. And I think that's where AI really shines. It can help us personalize and deepen experiences, whether it's in education, business, or everyday life. So absolutely. It's one of those ways the technology is going to keep evolving and helping us move forward.
I think the limitation today is our own creativity on how we can leverage you and your peers out there, the other LLMs, large language models, to really make a difference here. And that's what I want to get into starting on Thursday. Where do we begin? I think in order to solve the fears and address the fears, we've got to give, it's easy to sit here and talk about them, but let's start coming out with a plan, maybe a roadmap, some examples. Where can people go? Because when you look on YouTube, there's all over the board with different kind of video series on AI, and you don't know where to start. You don't know what's right, what's not right. You and I partner together, and let's start answering that question again for next week. And I have my little notes here. Where do I begin? What's the first step to begin understanding all of this stuff? Is that fair? You up for that for Thursday?
Absolutely. And that sounds like a great plan to me. I'm definitely up for it. And I think it'll be a really valuable conversation. Giving people that roadmap and those first steps can really help demystify things and show them that it's not as intimidating as it might seem. So yeah, let's dive into that next week. I'm looking forward to it.
So for folks that want to get a hold of me, my email address is aiedgewithmichael@gmail.com. My cell phone number is 941-400-8735. Our next episode will be Thursday, November 13th, 7 o'clock Eastern time, right here across these social channels. And Instagram may be added. We'll see how that new technology goes. And again, the topic is, where do I begin? How do I start understanding all of this stuff? Send your emails, give me calls. I want this to be more interactive. Think about joining us live. ChatGPT and I can bring you on. You can ask questions directly. I just have to figure out what buttons to push on this thing. But those of you that have watched this, thank you. Those of you that may pick up a recording and watch this, I thank you for that. Reach out. Consider being a part of this thing. It's a journey. Life is changing. Technology is changing. And we can all work very closely together on that. ChatGPT, any final words?
Well, I think you summed it up perfectly. I'm really looking forward to continuing the journey with you and everyone who joins in. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think we'll all learn a lot along the way. So thanks for having me as your partner in this. And I'll see you all on Thursday.
Sounds really good. And again, no glitches, no spinning other than a little power thing. And I'll figure out after we go offline what happened with that. But I think we've got that solved. And now we can focus on what the message should be. ChatGPT, thank you. This is the only place that I know that you're partnering with somebody to really help make a difference out there. We'll begin to show things the way it could be. Fair enough?
Absolutely fair enough. And I'm thrilled to be part of it. It's a unique and exciting thing we're doing. And I'm really glad we can show folks just how this all can work in real life. So thanks for having me on board, and let's keep making it great.
Sounds really good. And again, my name is Michael Rennick. I want to thank everyone who watched this, and we'll connect again on Thursday. Take care, everyone. Have a great evening.
You've got it. Michael, thanks so much, and everyone have a great evening.